for McCants. Johnny down the lane, and he hammers it in.
Coming up on the road to WAC Vegas, New Mexico State has already clinched the top seed in the tournament. This week, the Aggies head to the Pouch of Ouch, where Kansas City has been tough to beat. We will talk with Roos head coach Kareem Richardson. Plus, with only 2 weeks left until the tourney, there's not much time to win tickets. You'll want to check out this week's contest. That's all ahead on the road to WAC Vegas. Welcome to the road to WAC Vegas. I'm Eric Danner, filling in for Rachel Vigil. She is at the WAC Swimming and Diving Championships in Houston, Texas this week. We're heading down the home stretch of the WAC regular season, and New Mexico State has already clinched the top seed in the tournament and a share of the conference championship. The Aggies will face Kansas City in KC in the WAC Spotlight on ESPN+. That is Thursday night with a 6 p.m. Central Time start. These two teams met back on January 31st with NM State winning 70-54. The Aggies played 14 players in that game, and 12 of them scored. Jordan Giles came off the bench to score in double figures for UMKC. New Mexico State has clinched the top seed and a share of the WAC championship. A win on Thursday would give the Aggies the outright title. They have been the top seed in the WAC tournament 4 of the past 5 seasons. They are also riding a 13-game win streak. The top scorer for New Mexico State is Terrell Brown. He averages just over 11 points per game. After starting the season on the bench, Brown has started the past 11 games. In league play, his average has gone up a few points, and he is now over 13 points per contest in the WAC. For Kansas City, there is no place like home. The Roos are 5-1 in the WAC in the Pouch of Ouch, also known as the Swinney Recreation Center. Their biggest win so far this year was over Grand Canyon on February 14th, defeating the Lopes 87-75 in overtime. Back in 2014, the Roos defeated NM State in Kansas City 68-66. The top scorer for UMKC is Xavier Bishop. He is 4th in the WAC in scoring, averaging more than 15 points per game. Bishop is also number 6 in the WAC in assists, dishing out 3.7 per contest. In league play, the junior from Springfield, Illinois, is scoring at a rate of 14.7 points per game to lead the Roos. Coming up next on the road to WAC Vegas, we'll talk with UMKC head coach Kareem Richardson and see what his plan is to slow down New Mexico State. We'll be right back.
In the WAC, we take pride in our character.
When we win with humility.
And when we lose with dignity.
We know that how we act toward our opponent, the officials, and the fans defines the game.
Not the scoreboard.
And we know that showing respect will always outweigh any trophy.
Because when we focus on fair play,
we can't lose.
Good sportsmanship is what unites us.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
Welcome back to the road to WAC Vegas. The WAC Spotlight on ESPN+ this week will feature New Mexico State visiting Kansas City. That's on Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. And we're now joined by the head coach of the Roos, Kareem Richardson, now in his 6th season as the head coach. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great, Coach. First off, playing New Mexico State, obviously already the top seed in the WAC tournament. Tell me what practice has been like for you guys this week.
Well, you know, yesterday was a day. It's kind of our, what we call Mondays always kind of our work day, trying to really lock in on ourselves and try to tweak some things that we need to and get better at things and so forth. So, and then today was a day where we start really trying to prepare for New Mexico State and showing the guys, again, personnel of the team that we're getting, even though we played them, refresh their memory of New Mexico State, preparing for their sets and different things like that. And so really more attention to New Mexico State was today, and kind of trying to get that energy back and feel good, so to speak, as we get ready for those guys on Thursday.
Coach, you mentioned you did play New Mexico State earlier this year, January 31st, 74-50 in Las Cruces, but it was close for a half. What did you learn from that game?
Well, I'll tell you, like it's been really illustrated a lot in the media of those guys, how deep they are. You know, it's probably one of the deepest teams that I've been around in all of my days coaching. They can easily go 12 all the way through to 14 and not really skip a beat in how deep they are. And so they do a great job of wearing teams down, substituting and like I said, there's not much drop off from guys that come in off the bench, and so they really utilize their depth really well. And so, that's an area where we got to try to see if we can figure out of how we can combat their depth, because I feel like from a talent standpoint, they're very, very talented. Don't get me wrong. I like our talent as well, but we just gotta try to figure some things out from the depth perspective. Try to see how we can keep our guys a little bit fresher as they're rotating guys in and out.
Yeah, the last time you played New Mexico State, they did go 14 deep. Your team on the regular goes 10 deep. Is that something that you like to run a lot of guys in and out, have a lot of different looks, or is that something you need to do in WAC basketball these days just because you need to have such a deep bench to compete against teams like New Mexico State?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. A little bit of our style of play, and we've had some injuries here where we haven't had a full roster of guys and to be able to execute our pressing. We haven't been able to press as much full court pressing as we have in the past because of lack of, especially our backcourt depth. But and you need that playing typically Thursday, Saturday in the league. With that one-day preparation, especially for the Saturday game, of having a little bit of a bench, and obviously New Mexico State really that's where they thrive probably the most of that one-day turnaround of having such a deep bench.
Talking with Coach Kareem Richardson, and Coach, the bad news is you guys are 0-7 on the road in the WAC. The good news is you're 5-1 at home at Swinney. What's happening at home that has you guys playing so well?
I'll tell you, our crowds have been really awesome thus far, and with 2 to go, hopefully that we can continue having that great energy in Swinney. And so, it's obviously a more intimate setting than municipal, and so getting our student engagement back involved on campus, and so I think it's given our guys a certain energy level of playing at home, and we haven't. It's crazy. We haven't necessarily, other than the Grand Canyon game, we haven't played terribly on the road. We haven't been able to finish games on the road, which has been very, very frustrating. And with one to go on the road, and hopefully we can figure something out before we go to a neutral site for our conference tournament.
Yeah, it's already that time of year. At March Madness right around the corner. You guys finish up your home schedule this weekend, so the final game at Swinney this year will be on Saturday against UTRGV. I guess another bad news, good news, your last home game, but the good news is only one senior to say goodbye to on senior night.
Yeah, that being a Lear Leak, he's been a warrior, so to speak, with being here all 4 years, and just kind of from where he's come from as personally, it's kind of been documented about his awesome story of where both parents were killed at a young age, and because of the wars there in the Sudan and South Sudan, and just his journey has been an awesome journey, and to see where he's come, and a kid that's getting ready. And to be honest with you, when he first got here on campus, when we started academically, I told our athletics director I didn't know if he were going to make it, to be honest with you. I mean, he really struggled in the classroom, but to his perseverance and his workmanship, he's going to graduate here in the spring. He's slated to graduate in 4 years on time. And in the coaching realm, sometimes you forget that's what it's about. It's not all necessarily about the wins and losses, although we all want to win every game possible, but making sure guys like an Alir Leak succeed and better himself as a man and get himself ready for the real world.
Well, as we get ready for WAC Vegas here in a couple of weeks, you're sitting at 5-8 in the conference standings, heading that 6th spot, couple games behind 5, couple games ahead of 7. As you head into WAC Vegas, how do you get your team ready? What do you want to have happen here in the next 2 weeks before you start the conference tournament?
Well, that's pretty simple. We really got to get our defense locked in low. We've put it seems like we've put halves together and really look good defensively in spurts and halves. For example, our last outing at Utah Valley, we didn't play defensively as well as we like to. Second half, I thought we were much better, but just trying to get to it where we are, however many possessions defensively, where we can keep guys in our goal of low 40s shooting percentage and really low 30s in the 3-point category, and continue to get better and turning teams over where it helps us offensively if we can turn our defense to offense and see if we can make that improvement.
Coach, and one of the stories always in WAC Vegas is your group of fans that come out every year. I know they came out to actually a home game this year, the guys that have adopted UMKC as your fans, and I got to imagine you'll be happy to see those guys again in WAC Vegas this year.
Yeah, hopefully they can bring the energy and luck that they brought here at Swinney. It was awesome. And the super fans is what we call them. I mean, they just kind of adopted us about 4 years ago. They just so happened to be out in Vegas for a bachelor party, and just like the kangaroo, and I believe they saw our athletics director at the time, Carla Wilson, in the lobby, and just started asking her questions about her shirt, and they said they were going to come out to a game, and none of us believed them. I mean, they probably had a few drinks, but they ended up coming out, and they've been the super fans that they are for the last 4 years, and they said they're gonna be ready to roll in Vegas.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. We'll see you in Las Vegas here in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is Kareem Richardson from Kansas City. When we come back, we're going to talk some women's basketball, and you won't want to miss our next contest to get tickets to WAC Vegas. You're watching The Road to WAC Vegas.
Adrenaline, passion, triumph. Moments that'll never be forgotten. The 2019 WAC basketball tournament at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, March 13th through the 16th. Be a part of the madness. Get your tickets now at orleansarena.com.
Welcome back to the Road to WAC Vegas. Our WAC Digital Network featured women's basketball game of the week will be California Baptist visiting Utah Valley on Saturday at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. These two teams met on January 31st with CBU winning big by a final of 83-54. The Lancers are currently sitting at second place in the WAC with a record of 8-4. They have also won 6 games in a row. CBU is also the #1 scoring team in the WAC, averaging just under 80 points per game. They have scored 90 or more in 4 of the past 5. Brittany Thomas is the player to watch for CBU. She scored 14 with 9 rebounds in just 18 minutes last time against Utah Valley. She is 4th in the WAC in scoring at better than 16 points per game. Thomas is also leading the league in field goal percentage and is 2nd in rebounding. For Utah Valley, the Wolverines are currently in a 3-way tie for 3rd in the WAC, which is huge as we head down the stretch for seedings in the conference tournament. This will be UVU's final home game of the season, but good news for Coach Kathy Nixon, there are no seniors on this year's team. The Wolverines are also 11-4 at home. This game will be at Lockhart Arena. The top scorer for Utah Valley is Jordan Holland. She is averaging just under 14 points per game. She's also tied for the team lead in rebounds at more than 6. Holland has also scored in double figures in 17 straight games. Other matchups to keep an eye on include top seed New Mexico State hosting Kansas City on Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on the WAC Digital Network. The Roos will then visit UTRGV on Saturday at 7 p.m. Central. Those two teams are in that log jam for 3rd place. That will also be on the WAC Digital Network. Men's basketball games to keep an eye on include CSU Bakersfield visiting Grand Canyon. That is a 7 p.m. Mountain Time start on ESPN3. The Lopes are in a tie for 2nd with Utah Valley. The Wolverines will be at California Baptist for a 7 p.m. Pacific Time tip on the WDN. Our WAC Vegas contest last week was you showing why you are the biggest fan of your WAC school. The winner was Little Aggie.
I like hearing them on the radio. Aggies, oh Aggies.
Again, I'm the substitute teacher this week, so Tony Martinez, NM, please DM Rachel Vigil to get your tickets to WAC Vegas. For this week's contest, when you think of Vegas, you have to think of Elvis. So what we want for this week's contest is your best Elvis impersonation. For some motivation, here's some of our coaches a few years ago at WAC Basketball Media Day.
Vegas. Let me try that one more time. Viva! Viva! WAC Vegas!
WAC Vegas.
Viva! WAC Vegas!
Viva! Viva! WAC Vegas!
Make sure your video is under a minute and use the hashtag HeyRachel to enter the contest. Now, if you want to buy tickets to WAC Vegas, just go to Ticketmaster.com. For the WAC Digital Network, I'm Eric Danner.